Good morning. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Good start to your week. Every Tuesday, we're giving you guys value, giving you guys a introduction to what we're doing every week and what we're doing for the month. We just started the month of November. It's amazing how this year's really gone by so quick. Feels like it has, anyways. And the things that we've done in the time that we've had is always growth and prosperity. Building this company, building the other companies that we have, helping people really learn how to think, beyond where they're at, and acquire the desires that they want. It's a beautiful thing. This month we're going through Sixth Sense. Last month we were doing the subconscious mind, and they really correlate a lot together. They mesh together, and it's about understanding the correlation between mind and matter, mind and hand, and how it works. We go through life majority of the time unaware of our abilities to really create a life by design. I want to start this off with the energy that's in motion. Wherever you're at, to whatever part of life you're at right now, energy is already in motion. Even if you came in as a child, you're a young child, young man, young woman, even a student, elementary, consciously 2 or 3 years old, you've come in at a time where awareness has already been an ongoing process. Life has already been an ongoing process. Normally at the age of 2, 3, you're becoming conscious. 2 years old, 1, 2, you're becoming conscious the whole time, but you're more aware of yourself and the ideas that you're getting. You're more aware of your surroundings. You're starting to adapt and pick up information from your surroundings, and you're starting to think. You're starting to reason. And really what you're reasoning with is the material world entangled with your imagination. Material world entangled with your divine essence. And you're beginning to reason, and you're wanting to understand. You're wanting to aspire, individualize yourself as you're going through these ages. And you're coming to a world of an economic setting at some point. Now, depending on the timeline that you're born, you could have been born in this time, but there's different times in different eras, but there's always still a mindset. There's always still creativity. There's always still room for expansion and growth. There's never one set of circumstances where there's not another. There's no poverty. The only poverty that there is the poverty in the way we think. The economic system, the stock market does not really control your surroundings. We do. And when society really understands that we are in control of our fate and we have the ability to think, we don't have to let outside conditions control our life. The real truth of the matter is that the sun goes up and the sun goes down. There was never a shortage. If there was a shortage, it was a shortage in the way we think. Stock market goes down. Nobody stopped the sun. Nobody stopped the moon. So there was never a shortage. Production was always at your hands, at your fingertips. Always. Because the sun comes up and the sun goes down, nature was always there for you. Just as it's always been hundreds and thousands of years ago. It was there. Your willingness to accept that fortune was up to you. The willingness for society and a government to accept that as truth, can't deny it. There never was a disaster on earth at this moment in time that was controlling the stock market, the wealth, the finances, the abilities for us to press on and continue to build wealth in abundance was always there. It was never shortchanged. The way we think was shortchanged. Abundance is all around us. And understanding that abundance and that it's all around us has given us the gift, and that was the gift to imagine, to think beyond. If we were to take everything that was man-made and take it away, all we'd have is nature. So the gift was in man's ability to think. The gift was in his ability to think beyond where he's at, to bring better things, healthier environment, healthier lifestyles, to go beyond. So where is this source of wealth? When we look at substance, we look at the correlation between mind and matter. Substance is the source of wealth. Where did it all come from? Well, one primordial spiritual substance out of which all things are created. Our thoughts. Now, substance and thoughts, let's look at the correlation between the two. Our thoughts, our words, our bodies, our food, our clothes, everything that appears are created from this substance. You think? Interesting. It permeates everything, penetrates everything, and fills everything. It is the raw material of all forms. It is the raw material of all forms. We think into it, and it gives back to us results of our thinking. It gives back to us the results of our thinking. It is the invisible source of all supply. It responds to our word. We contact it through the spiritual medium of our thoughts. It is omnipresent, eternal intelligence, and encompassing. It thinks through our brains, materializes through our words, breathes through our lungs, feels through our emotions, speaks through our nerves, and repairs the worn-out tissues of our bodies. In substance, we live and move and have our being. All things come from substance. You can reverse everything to it. You can take everything in here and accelerate its existence. I could take this wood and burn it and send it back. Send it back to nothing. Go back to substance again. Everything started off as an idea. Went back to the ether. Think about that. The table, the water, plastic. Everything that's man-made is energy. It's substance. And if you notice, everything's always disappearing. Somebody brings something in life, in a matter of time, it's disappeared, begins to decompose, disintegrate. Substance is pregnant with life, intelligence. Never power that is forever healing, growing. It is a substance that thinks. When it engages vibration, it carries radio programming right into your home. We do not have to take the roof off or put the windows up to let the radio programs in. They go right through cement, brick, plaster, lumber, and steel without disturbing the structure in any way. Thus we see the meaning of omnipresence. There is nothing in the material world that is solid, impregnable, impenetrable. Substance is all, over all, through all, and under all. Substance will go through tons of solid rock or concrete just as easily as it will go through our bodies. We do not see, taste, feel, smell, or hear substance, but we know what it is by what it does. When it engages man's thoughts, it materializes the things imaged in the thought. Now here we're beginning to get an understanding here. When it engages man's thoughts, it materializes the things imaged in the thought. We know it by what it does. When? Interesting. We know it by what it does when it engages man's thoughts. It materializes the things imaged in the thought. It acts by means of belief and conviction. Well, go on, reduce everything. Go on, take everything that was man-made. Reverse engineer it. Where did it come from? How did man bring forth these images? So that we may experience them outside of ourselves. Money is services. Transaction. Money was not made to control man. Man was not made for money. Money was made for man. We get things backwards. So when we look at money and matter, the matter as we see it was a rendering of services. So money is a transaction. It's a result. And if money is a result, it's a result of services rendered. Somebody brought an idea and brought it to the world. And then we pay them for their ideas. When we look at the material world, everything in the physical world is a rendering of services. So then by law, we have to pay for them. We have to pay for it. If we want physical things and we want to experience the physical things, the beauties of life, then we have to pay for it. A lot of people have money backwards. They want to take it. And if you want to take it, that means you don't feel you have enough. You don't think you have enough. But look at how much services you render. I remember working very hard as a young man and earning peanuts for it. Well, I could have exhausted the same amount of energy and been paid more. I could have exhausted the same amount of energy or much less energy, half the energy, and earned more as well. So it's the job that you go into. It's the business that you go into that delivers the compensation you receive according to the job. And I was given a lot of time, a lot of energy to that job, but it was paying me what it could pay me for the services that I was rendering. Even though I was rendering top services, it paid me what they could pay me for that job. So then the money we earn is ruled by 3 laws. The need for what you do, the law of compensation states. Now remember this, write it down. The law of compensation states the amount of money you earn will always be in equal proportion to these 3 states here, these 3 laws. Number 1 is the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty in replacing you. Say that again. Number 1 is the need for what you do. Number 2 is your ability to do it. And number 3 is the difficulty in replacing you. Now, depending on the company and the job and the amount of value it produces, it receives a certain amount of income. So therefore, according to what you're doing, and if you're within the realms of those possibilities and given that amount of effort, you get paid for that. And you get paid for what you do. Now, if you were to render more services in a different way or learn how to generate more revenue, then that's how you would change your revenue. Now, a lot of these things I didn't know at the time, but I learned this through this process of growth because I was working on myself. Now, as I started to work on myself and set goals and visions, life began to change. I'm going to say that again. As I started to work on myself and I started to adapt to the changes that I had to become, life started to change. Now, life would not have changed if I would have stayed with the same mindset. I'd have stayed right on target. So when we look at substance and matter, when we look at mind, which is unseen, but you see the hand move, mind and hand, you see that there's a consciousness, a state of consciousness that's demonstrating itself. It's demonstrating its ideas. It's demonstrating its beliefs. Now, what ideas and beliefs have been living through you? What did you think about that? What ideas and beliefs have you been demonstrating? It's very important you reason with yourself and you begin to start thinking about what you've been thinking about, because that's where you're going to see what's had you stuck. It's the way we think. We know it by what it does. When it engages man's thoughts, it materializes as things imaged. In the thought, it acts by means of belief and conviction. Interesting. Your thoughts go out into the intangible substance and causes a vibration that changes the material conditions in a man's life. Then why are there so much poverty and sickness in the world? Because we direct the substance toward negative and inharmonious ends. I remember looking around, and I remember the group that I was in, the group that I was surrounded with, and I noticed the poverty. Poverty was a practice. When I found out poverty was a practice, everybody was practicing being impoverished. You say, well then, why in the hell would they do that? They didn't know any better. When you really start to understand the mind and the way it works, we're just expressing ideas. We're practicing our ideas. We are performing them over and over and over again, sometimes to no end. I said, my God, I don't want to have what they have. And I started to realize they were all thinking in a certain way. And if they're all thinking in a certain way, I better stop thinking like they are. Then I started to look, well, what's the difference between the way they're thinking and the way others are thinking? I said, maybe I should start thinking in abundance and riches. What would that look like? And I went to go look at those people. Well, what caused them to get the results they were getting? They were thinking in a certain way as well. We direct. My mind. My mind is a center of divine operation. I said, wow. If everyone's mind is a center of divine operation, that means the power's in me. The power was in each and one of them. They were just expressing their power. But it was never restricted, nor was mine. That's the beauty of this. I was in poverty. But poverty was the expression of impoverished ideas. This is the whole beauty of this. I remember Bob talking about his book. He said, you were born rich. That was a perfect statement. Everybody's born rich. You may be out a little money, but you're born rich. How are you born rich? Because you have the ability to change your ideas. Truly, when you're born, your mind was perfect. The ideas that you came into were the conditioning. The ideas that we came into were the conditioning. Now, when we start looking at the sixth sense, we pick it up as a sense, or we think it's a sense, but really it's vibration and it's energy. When you intuitively get a feeling about something, your higher faculties are communicating to you. They're telling you, look, listen, pay attention, imagine. Let's look at the substance when it connects with mind of man. What does it do? It can penetrate through rock. It can penetrate. Let's look at this again. There is nothing in the material world that is solid, impregnable, and impenetrable. Substance is all, in all, over all, through all, under all. Substance will go through tons of solid rock or concrete just as easily as it will go through our bodies. We do not see, hear, taste, touch, smell this substance, but we know it by what it does. What engages man's thoughts, it materializes the images that he was holding. Now, I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of work in me. Why? Because I wanted more. I knew there was perfection in me, but it was up to me to draw it out. It was up to me to bring it to the world. Everyone has perfection. All men are created equal. But not everyone was set at the table. What's the table? Table of creation. The table of creation. When I really understood the power was in me, there was never anyone holding me back. My mind is a center of divine operation. And that divine operation is always looking for further expansion and realization. Of what? Of its truth. Of what it's thinking about. When I looked around, I said, well, hell, everybody just thinking impoverishly, so they keep getting impoverished ideas. And because they keep getting impoverished ideas, they're on track for poverty. Wow. Stop thinking as they think. Stop doing as they do. And you will find out that the riches are within you. Here's my reality. Stop doing as they do. Stop thinking as they do. And realize that the riches are within you. You have to release them. You have to begin to think and grow rich. Oh, it's beautiful. And it works. To think and grow rich. I remember there's a story in W. Clement Stone where the young man was back in the maybe 150 years ago, where they were using mules to plant. And as a young man, he was 5 years old, and it was time for him to wrestle the mules. And he told his mother, Mama, why did God make us poor? And she slapped him. She said, never blame God for what your father has done. Never blame God for what your father has done. She said, your brothers work in the fields and wrestle the mules. Your father worked in the fields and wrestled the mules. Your grandfather worked the mules. Every one of your family members have worked the mules. And now it's your turn. Pattern plan. That young man left. He'd spend his time, did his time there, what he had to do, those young ages, support the family. And he left to create his own desires and to fulfill his own state. On purpose to definite ends. What changed in him that did not change in his family? I think he ended up going into business, creating his own company, became a wealthy man, very wealthy man. I think he went into soaps, went into creating Rellington, I think. Anyway, the thing is he had to have had a desire to not be like them. What changed? He had to have a burning desire to not be like that. Well, that also had to mean that he had to stop thinking the way they were thinking, just to cut off the pattern plan. And then he had to start to think in a different way. Why is it everyone else stayed much the same? We never knew that we were programmed. We never knew that we were conditioned to think in a certain way. And if we never change the conditioning, you don't change the plan. If you don't change the beliefs, you're going to keep reenacting your beliefs. Wherever you are at, whatever part of the world you're at, whatever age you're at, it doesn't matter. You can change just like that. You can change just like that. You can change. You don't have to keep expressing the beliefs that you've been expressing. The mind is fruitful, but it'll only be thinking about. You can change the direction in any state. You can do that. We're the highest things as far as we know it. And we have the ability to think and to go beyond and to reason beyond what we've ever reasoned before. But you've got to control the flow of what? You say, I have the control. And you look around you and you say, there's no control here. This is what I have. This is who I am. Wrong. This is what you have allowed. This is what you have allowed by not understanding mind. We've brought this institute in to our area and back to our companies because I wanted to help people. Started our first company, building companies. I knew that people were stuck. I knew that people were programmed. I knew that they had the same ability. Would they believe it was possible for them? Were they ready, willing, and able to do the work? That's the truth. Are you ready, willing, and able to do the work that you have to do to become who you want to become, to experience what you want to experience? This higher faculty that we're talking about, the sixth sense, is what entangles you with everything. You are already entangled with it. Substance. Substance is pregnant with life, intelligent power, healing power, rich power, impoverished power. It's got everything in it. Whatever you want. Good, bad, ugly, positive, negative, strong, weak. Whatever desire you would like to fulfill, substance carries it. Look at this. It is a substance that thinks when it engages vibration. It carries radio programming right into your homes. We do not have to take the roof off or put the windows up to let the radio programs in. They go right through cement, bricks, plaster, lumber, steel, without disturbing the structure in any way. You're hooked up right to it. Nobody's been holding you still. There's no chain. I just look around. Well, there's got to be something holding them back, but it's unseen. Nothing has been holding you back. It's your ideas. When you begin to develop your higher faculties and understand that you are the key. You are the key to creation. You're the key to wealth. You're the key to abundance. You're the key to prosperity. But you have to start to release those ideas. That's when you start to change an algorithm, a vibration, a state of being inside of you. And then you pick up vibrations to understand the way you work. Take a look at this. The sixth sense is that portion of the subconscious mind which has been referred to as the creative imagination. It has also been referred to as a receiving set, through which ideas, plans, and thoughts flash into the mind. The flashes are sometimes called hunches and inspirations. Now look at this again. The creative side of your mind, it has been referred to as the receiving set. You think and you receive ideas. You think and you can never get what you want until you go there. You can never get what you want until you go there. I started to think, well, I want $100,000 a year. I was earning $20,000, $30,000. I said, oh, well, I want to earn $100,000 a year. The minute I went there, I started to get ideas on how to go there. Accident on purpose. And then I started to go there and started to say, well, how can I earn $100,000 a year? And I started to look around. And I started to look around again because this is what we do. We do the only thing that we can do. We pick up information from our groups. Look at the conditioning that you received as a child. You did the only thing that you could do. What can a child do other than accept all the ideas that are going around in the family and then take it in as truth and go and act it out yourself? We didn't know we were programmed. You were programmed to think and act and behave in a certain way like they do. And I got to the point where I didn't want what they had anymore. That's when life changed. That's when life changed. I changed the direction by changing my vibration. And I changed my vibration by deciding that there was a place and I would earn it. I would figure it out. So I'd look around for jobs that would pay that amount of money. And as I found the jobs that allotted that type of money, I went after it. Then I worked my way through those positions by deciding again, I'm going to be that. And I decided another self-image. And I've developed myself to become that. Nothing I have was given. It was all earned. Changing the way I think. Working on me. Now, when we look at this receiving set, through which ideas, plans, and thoughts of flashes flash into the screen of your mind, they do. Bam, bam. Einstein said, the field controls a particle. The field is where everything is created. Now, when we're talking about this substance that connects to you and brings you ideas, as you think, you are vibrating on a vibration. And as you begin to think on that vibration, you start to download and receive ideas from that thought. And they come back to you and they flash on the screen of the mind. And then you see, I began to see images. And then I would act out the images that were given to me. I would act them out. I was given a vision that we would have multiple companies. I had a vision that I would have companies. We'd have companies all over the world. As well as we would be helping people all over the world. I had a vision that we'd be in commercial, oil and gas, electrical. We would have companies that were global. And it came in as a flash. Then I began to act it out. I didn't know how. I began immediately. Act now. Act now. I would tell myself in the morning, you got one shot. Every day, you got one shot. Act it out. Every day, acting out my vision on purpose to definite ends. Every day, acting out my vision on purpose to a definite end. I knew where I was going. That's a goal. Now, this sixth sense, the receiving set, I was receiving the ideas of where to go, and the intuition was communicating with it. It's telling me what to do on purpose, why to do it. And I would see what to do before I would do it. Where's the gift? I had to release the idea first. You see, what Spirit was wanting was the introduction of the personal factor. Your personal factor. No man can change that. I can't change you. You got to feel worthy within yourself and say, yes, I am worthy. Then you've got to decide what you would like to experience. It's a beautiful thing. Then you get to decide. What would you like to experience? What do you want? What do you really, really want? I've done this. I don't only teach this, I've done it. And I do it over and over and over again. And I work with other people. And we ask them, what do you really, really want? Why? Because it's their gift now. I cannot change a man's life. He's got to want it for himself. Then he's got to believe. Then he's got to understand. Understand what? Well, the way his mind works. And then how to progressively move into a worthy ideal. Over and over and over. Progressively moving into his worthy ideal. Until he acquires the desire. Let's look at this. The sixth sense is that portion of the subconscious mind which has been referred to as the creative imagination. It also has been referred to as a receiving set through which ideas, plans, and thoughts flash into the screen of your mind. The flashes are sometimes called hunches and inspirations. The sixth sense defies description. It cannot be described to a person who has not mastered the other principles of philosophy, because such a person has no knowledge and no experience with which the sixth sense may be compared. Understanding the sixth sense comes only by meditation through mind development from within. The sixth sense probably is the medium of contact between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. Let's look at this again. Substance is pregnant with life, intelligence, power, and healing. It is the substance that thinks. When. I love this word because I see it so many times. When. And the other one is if. When and if you engage it. How many times have you had opportunities and you just kick it right out the door? When? How many times have you said, I'm going to do that when? And nothing happens. Because it was never a decision. I'll do it if never comes. When never happens. Was infinite intelligence there for you all the time? It always was. When and if you're ready. We really don't think. We have a phone that has no wire, yet it can pick up information from the ether. It has no wire, no plug-in. We can take this into this room. I can take it to the next room. I can go into a closet with it. Still picks up information. I can go underground. Still picks up receiving and sending station. Still works. They can take these contraptions underwater, and it still works. Still penetrates. You can take it into a cave to some degree, and it'll still work. Why? You can still work. You can go beyond this. You do not recognize the potential and the power that you have. The people that created the phone are understanding the laws. The laws have never changed. The phone was probable hundreds of thousands of years ago. There's other things that have been experienced and created society doesn't know about. This is very powerful, but not as powerful as you. The greatest thing ever created was you. You have the ability to think in the place that you're at and receive ideas. And you say, oh, what is he talking about? That really doesn't matter. That doesn't work. Does it not? Look around you. Everything that was man-made came from the mind of man. Hugh is a higher consciousness of man. You have a higher consciousness that can accelerate through time and space and bring down ideas and act them out in form. And you'll say, well, I've never seen it done, but you see it written all around you in happenings. You go and touch it, you go and use these things, and you question nothing about it. Well, what made that individual more genius than you? A choice. A choice. We don't see geniuses very often. We don't see them around. We don't see geniuses that bring value to the world. We normally don't see them because there's not very many people that are using the higher faculties. There's not very many people that are using a higher consciousness. What is a genius? Somebody that is using a higher consciousness than the average individual. Wow. Genius is an individual that has gone beyond the norm. That's called inspiration. To aspire, to be inspired. Where do thoughts come from? Infinite intelligence. The medium of contact between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. For this reason, it is a mixture of both the mental and the spiritual. It is believed to be the point at which the mind of man contacts the universal mind. Interesting. If we were not able to receive ideas, we would not see this reality today. If we were completely disconnected, if you were to take away the imagination of man, all you would have is an animal. But you were born with so much more. Think about that. If you were to take away the imagination, take it away right now, take away the imagination of man, and all you would see was an animal. Now, the question is has anybody kept you stuck? Has anybody said, no, we're going to stop you from thinking? We're going to stop you from imagining. You, sir, will no longer imagine. Nobody's done that. Conditioning, yes. We've been conditioned to think as they think. But here's the beauty of this. You can start right now. Maybe you're hearing this in the future. Some distant time, maybe. You have the ability to think. You have the ability to imagine. The miracles that has been provided These blessings come from the imagination. This imagination has defined things, refined things, created opulent things, abundance of things, appreciation of things, blessings, the gift of life. Everything has been inspired from growth and prosperity. Everything is an inspiration of going beyond where we've ever been. And as we begin to understand this inspiration, individualized experience, we begin to understand who we are. When we look at money and we look at wealth, we're looking at the experiences, or we're looking at the results of services rendered. There's no difference. There's no difference in you or anyone else. How can you provide more service? That's the real thing. How can you give more? Again, money is a product of what? The paying out of services. If you find the idea of substance hard to follow, let's take a look at this. Let's look at what money is, what paper is, what man and a house and an automobile and food. What are they? Analyze the 5 objects: money, man, house, automobile, food. You will see that they're all alike, that they all are made from the same stuff: the man, the money, the house, and the automobile. And the food are all presentations of one element. And what is this element? What is the thing that makes all alike? What is their substance? The answer is paper. The only thing we have here is paper. The man, the money, the house, the automobile, and the food are but different forms made from the same stuff. The forms and the paper are one and the same thing. We call one form a man, the other a house, the other money, but they are all whatever the paper is. The paper is a symbol of substance, of which all things consist, and out of which all things proceed. What is the symbolism of man? It's a realization that everything goes back to substance. Can you realize that you and the paper are, in one sense, you are both the visible expression of mind substance? And that apart from the substance, you can do nothing, be nothing, and have nothing? Of what benefit is all the substance in the universe if your consciousness operates independently of it? Perhaps that is what is wrong with your demonstrations. You have been looking at things and disregarding the power behind them. You've been seeking the young man for the loaves of the fish and not for the spiritual understandings. If we take a flower away from, look at this flower. If you take the flower, and as long as its center is connected to the root in the ground, it lives and it aspires to bring more. But the minute you pluck the flower from its substance, from its power, it begins to disintegrate. The minute you pluck the flower away from the centering of itself in the ground, you have disconnected the power. People are looking for the results and never looking towards the cause. People are always looking towards results and never to the cause. I wanted abundance. I had to look through the centering of that power, and then I had to become one with it. I had to cooperate or bring my own. And I did that later on. I brought my own substance. I had to create my own gift to the world. You can do the same. Now I'm going to touch it just a little bit. Cooperation. I wanted to earn a certain amount of money. I had to go become it. That's a life substance. if I wanted more money, I eventually went into sales. Started to sell my own company. I was connected directly with Source. Many people want the results. I started to give services, sell the whole company. I started to generate the income. I started to attract an outer ring. I started to attract people around me to support me because I was selling so much that I needed lots of people. Because I centered myself just the way the plant does. We look at nature, we don't pay attention. Nature is connected to divine source. Therefore, it keeps evolving. I centered myself as the center of the company. Began to release the ideas. We're going to give so much value. This person gave so much value, he's gone around the world. He had a big vision. He's not around the world by accident. She, they, them, they're not around the world by accident. They're there on purpose because that was the vision. Life has preceded them. The vision came first, then the results came after. I had a vision that we would have multiple companies, multiple MSIs, multiple sources of income. We'd have a global imprint. We've already begun to do that. Not on accident. It was on purpose. The vision, our vision, is to do that. Therefore, we must experience it. What visions do you have? What desires do you have? What do you really want? That's the real question. This is not about me. It's about you. What do you want? Who do you want to be? Are you ready and willing? Are you worthy? Really think about all this. Take a look at what we're doing. Again, we have classes Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. English, 7 a.m. Spanish. Once a month, we have a live event every Thursday. We're here in Lubbock, Texas. You're in the area. You can get signed up. Visit I Am Mastermind, Institute of the Mind, and you'll find when we're having our activities and get signed up. Bet on yourself because nobody else will. Take your desire. Take your desire and be ready and willing to give it to the world. Find out what you really want. Work on you. Nobody else can change you. You're the only one. Have a wonderful day.